Gravity Falls is one of the best cartoons out there, and we're still sad it's actually over. If you're a true fan of the show, stick to the end for the ultimate Gravity Falls Easter eggs. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button to never miss another video, and don't forget to give us a big thumbs up. Let's check out 10 pop culture connections in Gravity Falls that will make your jaw drop. The Spice Girls. Yes, you heard it right. Gravity Falls has a Spice Girls reference, and we're pretty sure you never even noticed it because of everything else that happens in this episode. In Carpet Diem, the 16th episode of Season 1, we see how hard it sometimes is to share a room with a sibling. After Dipper complains, Suze finds a room in the shack. This turns everything into a competition as Dipper and Mabel compete for the room, unaware that the room's carpet comes with some magical powers. But before we get to that, let's rewind to the scene where the girls have their sleepover party. During the aftermath, and right before Mabel reveals the party girl writing on her forehead, you can see a DVD on her face. The title of the DVD is Boy's World, which is a reference to the Spice Girls movie called Spice World. If you look at the boy characters, you'll notice they're in the exact same position as the Spice Girls on their DVD cover. It only makes sense to give a tribute to the Spice Girls during a sleepover, right? And it looks like the girls definitely did spice up their lives during that sleepover too. Poor Dipper, we totally understand why he wasn't able to stay in that room for much longer. Steven Universe. Steven Universe is definitely one of the weirdest cartoons ever, so it's no wonder it got a shout out in Gravity Falls. This Easter egg was so cleverly designed, we bet you never even noticed it in the first place, and to be honest, it took us a couple of seconds before we realized what we were actually looking at. A Tale of Two Stands is pretty creepy on its own, but what makes it even better is this Easter egg. We love Steven Universe, and apparently so does Gravity Falls. You can see Ford stand in front of a chalkboard, hiding a mysterious figure. But shift your eyes to the left to see the Steven Universe reference. It's the Diamond Authority symbol. But of course, just like with other connections we will mention, Gravity Falls had to slightly mask this Easter egg and rearrange the colors. It also doubles as the actual symbol of hazardous chemicals. The red color on the symbol represents the fire hazard, the blue is a health hazard, yellow is reactivity, and white symbols a specific hazard. Which only makes us wonder, why are those symbols so similar in the first place? But we still think this is a creatively hidden shout out to Steven Universe and the slightly bizarre gem leaders. What do you think? Let's debate in the comments. Lady and the Tramp. Since Gravity Falls is a Disney cartoon, it only makes sense to give a shout out to other iconic Disney movies, but you won't see glass slippers or birds braiding someone's hair in this show. You'll see Mabel eating a pizza with the pig she won at Stan's Mystery Fair. But the way they're eating the pizza is very similar to the iconic scene from The Lady and the Tramp. Sure, this type of scene would only make sense in a show like Gravity Falls, but hey, let's pretend that sharing pizza with a pig is totally normal and just as romantic as eating spaghetti in Lady and the Tramp. Mabel's love for that pig is completely adorable, even though we cringed when she was also given a fork and a knife when she won the pig. The entire episode focuses on, of course, Dipper's love for Wendy and him desperately trying to make things right after he accidentally hits Wendy in her eye with a ball. And let's face it, her love for that pig made this episode even more wonderful, even though some parts were definitely weird. Let's just hope there wasn't any bacon on that pizza, although considering this is Gravity Falls, there's a good chance there was. The Muppets. Gravity Falls is known to draw inspiration from pretty much anywhere, and in this particular episode, they paid homage to one of the most beloved old school shows ever. It's time to play the music, it's time to light the lights. Sock Opera, the 4th episode of Season 2, is all about Mabel putting on a sock puppet rock opera to impress a local puppeteer. Only Mabel could come up with something as creative as a sock puppet rock opera. Of course, she makes Dipper join in on the fun too, but make sure you watch the credits where you can see Mabel's sock puppet crack a joke. We see Old Man McGucket and Grunkle Stan watching the show from the audience. Old Man McGucket says that the puppet show was really something, and Grunkle Stan adds it was something terrible. The two laugh, but that's not all that's funny about that scene. The way these two are set up reminds us of Statler and Waldorf from The Muppet Show. These two always love to hate on the show they watch and heckle the entire cast. They're easily known as the show's greatest critics, which is exactly what Gravity Falls tried to portray. McGucket and Stan's scene is exactly the same as Statler and Waldorf's. To be fair, we're pretty sure that these two would make just as awesome critics as Statler and Waldorf. The Little Shop of Horrors. In the 6th episode of the 2nd season, we're introduced to another side of Mystery Shack. Of course, Mystery Shack holds so much more mysteries than we could ever know about. Stan explains that the Mystery Shack's spookiest attractions go on sale after hours. Those attractions are things normal people would probably find just a little bit, if not a lot, creepy. It's definitely not an easy episode to watch, especially not after what the witches do to Stan. But pay attention to the actual title of the episode. It's called The Little Gift Shop of Horrors, which is a direct reference to the 1960s movie called The Little Shop of Horrors. This dark comedy was so popular, it actually got a Broadway revival in 2003. Although Gravity Falls' version is much more creepy, The Little Shop of Horrors definitely has scenes that will make you never get close to another planet again. Seeing Grunkle Stan without hands definitely gave us nightmares. But anyways, it was nice to see Gravity Falls give a little tribute to an iconic, yet slightly creepy movie about the secret life of plants. But even though it comes with an interesting episode, this episode is definitely not the one to watch if you're the type that gets easily scared by seeing a character without certain body parts. Tron. Fighting Fighters is the perfect episode for everyone that loves to play games. In the beginning of the episode, Seuss shows Stan and Mabel the arcade games, while Dipper, of course, plays a game with Wendy. There are so many game titles in this scene, it's no wonder we could find some of them also related to pop culture references. This one is pretty cleverly hidden, and it probably won't make sense unless you saw Tron the movie. In one of the scenes, we see Seuss playing the game. He later crawls into a video game after wanting to know what it would be like to be inside the game for real. He later gets trapped in the game, which is pretty creepy, but pay attention to the actual name of the game. The title says Nort, which is Tron spelled backwards, but what's even better is the obvious tagline underneath, saying that it's the game based on the movie based on the game. It's a shout out to Tron the movie, which has the same concept of a character literally getting in the gaming world. We can now see where Gravity Falls got the inspiration for this episode, so it's only appropriate to credit the plot of the movie in some way. Besides, Tron sounds way better than Nort anyways. Don't Stop Believing. We apologize in advance, but you're about to get Don't Stop Believing, sung by Journey, stuck in your head all day long. Gravity Falls likes to make pop culture connections in their own unique way. Of course, they can't just show the exact reference, they have to cleverly mask it. This also makes it much cooler when you finally realize what they meant all this time. In the 7th episode of Season 1, Mabel competes with Pacifica for the title of the Party Queen during Mystery Shack's weekend party. It's safe to say that the title belongs to Mabel regardless of this competition because no one knows how to party as crazy as Mabel does. She starts singing karaoke to the most 80s-est, crowd-pleasingest, rock balladiest song ever. Those were her choice of words, not ours. The tune of Don't Stop Believing comes on, but of course Gravity Falls had to get creative with it and change it to Don't Start Unbelieving, which basically means the same thing. Mabel sings Don't Start Unbelieving, Never Do Not Feel Your Feeling, which has the same meaning as Don't Stop Believing's chorus. Now let's sing it all together. Just a small town girl, living in the lonely world. But really, we're sorry you'll have the song stuck in your head for the rest of the day. The Moonwalk. The Mystery Shack Party episode doesn't only highlight the reference to one of the best 80s songs ever, it also references one of the best 80s performers ever. You probably noticed this one because, let's be honest, no one ever expected this from a Gravity Falls character. The episode is all about partying until you drop, and the characters definitely did just that. Of course, Dipper and Wendy have their own little love story going on, or at least they try to. But focus on one of the moments right before Wendy shows Dipper her family picture. We can see people having fun on the dance floor when a tall guy decides to moonwalk across the floor. He does so by tricking people into thinking he's moving forward when he's actually smoothly gliding back. The move was practically invented by the one and only Michael Jackson, who could do the moonwalk by no one else. He's still known as one of the greatest performers of all time, and his work will never be forgotten. How could it be when even a cartoon like Gravity Falls had to give it a shout out to the best of the best in the music industry? Speaking of the best of the best, if you like horror games, stay tuned for the next pop culture connection and make sure you check out our very last one. Chuck E. Cheese. This one is a little bit spooky because the timing of it really doesn't make sense. You'll see what we mean in just a few seconds. In the 5th episode of Season 2, Seuss really needs a date for his cousin's engagement party. So he tries it out with a dating simulator game so that he can practice talking to girls. Meanwhile, Stan tries to find a replacement for Goldie and is talked into attending a jamboree that's clearly meant for kids. But pay attention to some of the characters you see at the jamboree. From the ones at the arcade to the band on stage, these characters have something in common. They look very much like the characters from Chuck E. Cheese. But what's even scarier is that they're even more similar to the characters from the horror game called Five Nights at Freddy's. Of course, the game was inspired by Chuck E. Cheese, but what's crazy is that this particular episode aired only 1 month after Five Nights at Freddy's was released. Is it a coincidence or just a reference to Chuck E. Cheese? Needless to say, whether he's talking about the game or the concert, Grunkle Stan is right, as we also don't have any idea why kids would like this sort of stuff in the first place. Gravity Falls. But what Gravity Falls does best is putting Easter eggs of its own show in some of the episodes. These are the cartoon characters you don't pay much attention to and storylines that get forgotten the minute the episode is over. For example, after appearing in Season 2, Agent Powers and Agent Trigger can actually be seen in the background of more than just one episode. You can even spot them in the audience of this episode where Mabel puts on the sock puppet show. They're the ones hiding their faces and reading a magazine. They also very briefly and mysteriously appear in Season 2, Episode 9 when the camera shows the festival goers having fun. They're always watching! Another character that frequently makes an appearance is the Time Traveler, whose name is Blendin Blandin. You can see him picking something up on the beach in The Legend of Gobblewonker, and he can be found in the back audience of the Headhunters episode. His identity is finally revealed in the Time Traveler's pig, but many didn't even notice he was there before him. There are very few other shows that are able to take popular side characters and make them appear in several other episodes without many people even noticing. After all, the Time Traveler and both agents are definitely a part of Gravity Falls pop culture. That's it for our video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button for more videos like this one. See you next time!